Hi, everybody, and welcome to OJT Talk. Today, Lydia and I have a special guest on. I'm extremely excited. I've been waiting. So, to everybody on Twitter, pretty much, you know him as Wick Wico. I know him as Wick Wico, but he's also Sean. So, you'll be hearing Lydia and I refer to him as Sean. So, take it away, Sean. Tell us a little bit about yourself and let everybody know how they can follow you and where they can find you at on social media.
Okay. I got involved in all this, obviously, like a lot of people did, due to some concerns I had with the current administration. And if anybody's watched me on YouTube or they've been following me on Twitter, I make that abundantly clear. Originally, I owned a martial arts school. I teach security for a living, so I'm very detail oriented, and I like the rules. The rules are actually important to me because they're like a social contract that you have in order to know where everybody stands. I mean, if you're following, I'm not saying that blindly. I go 5 miles above the speed limit and things like that. I'm not like, everything's rules, but they allow us to know where we stand. And so when I started noticing that some of those rules, some of these basic civics class, high school civics class rules were being broken, that's when I got involved. I'm at WIKWEKO on Twitter. That's Wikwako. It actually means the place where things end in the Unami dialect. Yeah, that's what Wikwako means.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And then Zwesi means he should be feared.
Uh-oh!
Fear me.
Which is why I'm kind of glad that I kind of focus on the indigenous patriot moniker, because if you've spoken with me for a while, you know that I'm not. Why are you going to fear anything that I have to say unless it's on the wrong side of things? To be honest with you, I've had so many conversations with people where originally they wanted to be combative, and I've pulled that down. I've dialed it down because we're all Americans, no matter which side of the divide you're on.
Right.
Anyway, that's my monologue. If you want to know something else, then please let me know.
Okay. Well, I want to know, I was fascinated when I saw your YouTube video and you went over your news formats. So could you briefly explain that to all of our viewers?
Yes, that's something that's really important to me. A lot of people just see either memes or some article that somebody retweets, and they only read the headline of that article. They don't even go into the article itself. I see that so often because some of the things that they complain about is actually answered right there in the body of the article if you just took the time to read it. Well, I personally use an app that's called Ground News. And the reason why I use that app is because every article that they have a bias rating. Okay. So it's going to let you know the news organizations that's covering that particular topic, as well as where on the political spectrum they fall. So for instance, I prefer to go with centerline news. Generally, centerline news is going to have a minimum of bias in how they're covering whatever that topic is. And obviously, if you go to the left, it's going to have a liberal bias, and if you go to the right, it's going to have a conservative bias. I actually believe in both parties. I believe that it's important to have people that disagree with you, because you can't always assume that you're right. Different perspectives and diversity is what makes us beautiful as a country, in my opinion. So I really like to cover that. Sometimes I'll read from the right, sometimes I'll read from the left, but generally only in times when only the right or only the left covers a particular topic. It's awesome because you can also save your particular articles. There's another site that I use if you don't use Android or iOS, and that's allsides.com. You can go right in your browser and use that. And what's really cool about that one is you can share your link to somebody and they can actually see the articles that you found interesting. So it's like a personalized link. It's your own link. The only reason why I don't use it so often is because you have to open up the browser, and I just prefer to go into the app where I can look at videos and things like that.
So is Ground News, is that a free app or?
Yes, it's a free app. They don't pay me, but they do. But I've been saying that since the beginning of my my videos. I do have a thing that gives you, I think it's a month of their premium, which just unlocks some extra stuff. But everything that I cover is covered in the free app. I'm not a huge I don't pay for a lot of apps.
That's awesome.
You know, look at my studio.
Yeah, I love it. Look at mine.
But you guys got that nifty OJT talk with Vonda and Lydia behind you. You guys got murdered. I'm wearing my missing and murdered Indigenous women shirt.
Oh, I'm wearing my Ravens shirt and my Ravens hat.
Yep, go Ravens.
I have a plain shirt. Sorry.
You have a what shirt?
It's all good.
Lydia, what kind of shirt?
No, I just wearing a plain shirt.
Oh, just a plain shirt.
I just wanted to be a part of the conversation.
Like Sean said, it's all good.
Anyway.
So, okay, and thanks for the information about the news. And actually, I agree with trying your best to stay in the center.
Right.
I personally believe everything is going to be more accurate if you go that route.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just me. So the topic I've been extremely, and I'm sure Lydia is, the topic that I have been extremely over the top excited with asking you about is QAnon.
Yes. I like how you laughed about that.
Well, QAnon, that's interesting. I told you about Lauren Witzke in your area there. She originally came out as a QAnon proponent, and I read today, I think there's 24 members of Congress that have either shared QAnon nonsense or they're just straight up QAnon supporters. And I also read that QAnon is becoming a thing over in the UK.
It is.
About QAnon in the UK? Come on. You guys already? I mean, I watched your episode where you discussed it briefly. I mean, have you actually gone into what they're talking about yet?
I have a little bit. What about you, Vonda?
Only a little. Lydia's definitely more knowledgeable than I am, more up to speed with them than I am.
So QAnon is this conspiracy theory that states that there's a cabal of, well, it's not just the cabal, that Democrats and a lot of the celebrities and whatnot are part of a satanic cult that they sacrifice children, they eat them, but they also harvest this stuff called adrenochrome. Okay, and the adrenochrome is supposed to make them look younger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's like a it's like huh?
I'm not just saying. Look at Vonda's face. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's like Monsters University or the Monsters Incorporated when they're taking the fear out of the children to feed on. It's silly. So when it first was really becoming popular, there was a man that went in and he stormed the Comet Pizza in DC. It was Comet Ping Pong and Pizza in DC because the whole theory was in their basement was one of the places that they were holding the children. So he goes in and he's got his assault rifle, forces his way into the back, shoots the door. He actually shoots the door, kicks it open, and finds out that there's no damn basement. It's all bullshit. Pardon my language.
Oh, you're fine. We're not scripted. We're just regular people talking.
Did they stop it at that? No. Nope. They didn't go, that was wrong. Let me cut that out. So it's just going on from there. They have these. The idea is that Q is a member, an entrenched member of the administration who has all of this special information, and he drops that information on boards like 8chan. It used to be 4chan, but it moved to 8chan. And then there are these people that take these drops of information and they turn them into something. They translate them. It's kind of like looking at Nostradamus's prophecies and just making it fit the situation. Okay.
But nobody knows who Q is.
Well, like Lydia said last week, I think it was, or last program that you guys did, they busted a guy who may be Q, or if he's not Q, he at least ran Q Maps, which is one of the largest QAnon sites, but they tracked so much stuff back to him.
Wow.
But they don't know who the Q character is, and I don't think that they care as long as it fits their narrative.
That's scary.
I haven't checked, but is the Q Maps website still down?
I believe it is, but they're just, it's just going to come up in another form.
Yeah.
Right.
Even if the guy that got busted for it doesn't bring it up himself, somebody else is. What they do that's the hallmark of propaganda is they take little bits of truth. Are children being abducted?
Right.
Children have been abducted throughout the course of history. Okay. Is there people that have been? Are there people that have been entrenched in our politics for years? Yes, on both sides of the divide. Okay. Yes. Politics is a career just like a doctor. I generally don't want to go to a doctor that gets changed out every 2 years. I don't know about you. But anyway, it takes skill, building up relationships and things like that. So what they do is they take these little pieces of truth and they entwine them into people's religion, and that's how it calls the people. I've never met a Q person that doesn't have an evangelical tint to them.
Right.
And then that whole Save Our Children, are you aware of that, Vonda? Okay, I don't know what kind of social media you use, but if you do have a Facebook, I know Lydia has a Facebook because
I have a Facebook, but I'm not.
You're not a Facebook warrior.
No.
On Facebook, you see a lot of Save Our Children hashtags. And what that is that's co-opting the Save the Children, which has been around for my entire life. So it takes Save Our Children and it co-ops it to the QAnon thing, because what they're saving our children from are these satanic pedophiles.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
The thing about these cult-like organizations is that they take a little bit of truth and mix it a bunch of lie into it, and it just sounds so reasonable. And so they have evidence of this one thing, and then people believe the whole story. And I think that is the most effective way to program people. And I think the scariest thing for me about the QAnon conspiracy is the fact that you have people in government that are latching onto it, and you have, our current president retweeting QAnon conspiracies. And that for me is the scariest part, is that it's being pushed by people in power in high influence places.
And so like Sean said, they've been there. Now that current y'all's president and the current administration, they've made it comfortable. They've made it comfortable for these people to come out.
Right.
Yep. I like to liken it to when you cut the lights on and you see all the roaches.
Right.
Yeah, scattering.
Yeah.
Except for they're not scattering. They're sitting there going, 4 more years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Generally, I don't like to come down on Trump supporters on a personal level, because humans are susceptible to propaganda. We don't, you know, we reach out and look for multiple sources of information, but some people don't have that. Some people just haven't thought about that, or they trust where they're getting their sources of information from. So they don't go, you know what, maybe I need to question this. And that's the thing about a cult. Do you think that those people wanted to drink the Flavor Aid, and that's what it was? I know we say drink the Kool-Aid, but it was Flavor Aid at Jonestown. Okay.
Yes,
Do you think that they wanted to do that? No. I like to ask this question too. Do you think that one morning the Germans woke up and decided that they hated Jewish people?
Mm-hmm.
It's years and years of indoctrination from people that you trust. So that's why I don't come down on the Trump supporters so much, because I don't know what their personal stories are. I can't judge them by what kind of educations they've accumulated. And so I hold if you have a check mark on Twitter, if you are a pundit, you're in the news, you're a politician, all bets are off. Okay, these people are different because they have a platform that they're standing on. I hold them accountable, but the general person, why are they going to believe me over Pastor John?
Now, if we're talking strictly, if we're not talking about anything that has happened to Black people, I'm with you on that. If we are, that is off the table. I have no respect for anybody that supports Trump and that administration. You know why? They know how my race got here.
Mm-hmm. No, the racist part of it, I agree with. Okay, I do think that this is the most colonizer-like administration since, you know, in my lifetime. Okay,
I agree.
It's the one that the man literally talks about manifest destiny.
Right.
That in itself is a racist term. The idea that it was okay and ordained by God for people to come and strip the land from its indigenous people. And it's not just this land. It's Australia. It's Africa. It's a colonizer mindset. Now, I give no quarter towards racists. I believe that if you're not willing to educate yourself about the fact that diversity is good, the fact that we want to know more about people and we want to broaden our horizons, if you're not open to that, then I probably don't have much to say about you, because I love diversity. It's
right.
I mean,
look at this.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Look at this right now. I mean, look how diverse we are right here. This is
you have a Mexican, a Black, and an indigenous person.
Yes. Right.
So I mean, this is the epitome of diversity. But I want to go back to what you were saying about, you know, how you don't want to kind of characterize Republicans or a certain way or whatever. I really, and I'm not getting paid for this either, but I saw a video, a Netflix thing on called The Social Dilemma. If you have not seen that, I strongly suggest it. It talks about how we are being programmed through social media, and how if you lean more to the right, they're going to keep feeding you more information on the right. If you lean towards the left, they're going to be feeding you. I promise you won't be disappointed. It's about an hour long, maybe a little bit longer, but I promise you, you will think differently after you watch it.
That is exactly true, and the hallmarks come from have you watched The Hoax?
No.
Well, you should check that out as well on Netflix. The Hoax is about Cambridge Analytica and how they used our data against us in the 2016 elections. But what's really interesting about it is that Steve Bannon was one of the co-founders of it.
That's crazy.
Oh my God.
Yep, Cambridge Analytica. Mm-hmm. It's called The Hoax on Netflix, and obviously I don't have Netflix kind of money back here.
Okay.
But I wanted to correct something. I said something wrong a moment ago, and I wanted to correct that. We have two indigenous people and one Black person on here. Because to me, the people of Mexico are indigenous. That's just what it is.
Yeah. I've discussed this with Vonda before too. You know, they people say, you know, Mexicans are across the border, but we were here. My
Yep.
family was here in Texas. You ask my grandfather on my mom's side, where are you from? He says Texas. He doesn't say, you know, anywhere else. So anyway, back to you.
No, I just wanted to correct that because I walked in the Parade of Nations when they opened the Native American Museum in Washington D.C. My family was invited to walk in the Parade of Nations. You go to that museum in D.C. and you will see sections for indigenous Mexicans as well as throughout the Latin American countries in
That's
South.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, the name of the cafe is Meetzig, which means let's eat in my language.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did you learn about your heritage, your lineage, like at a early age?
Yeah, my
Wow,
mom
that's
is
awesome.
Yes.
my mom is actually the I hate to say this, but she's like the token indigenous woman around here. If they want her on, if they want somebody to speak at Salisbury University, which is the local college, if they want somebody to do a program or anything like that, they call her. And
Aw,
I'll be doing. She's gonna do some storytelling on my YouTube in the future here.
Oh,
that's
that's awesome.
awesome.
Great. Yes.
So
But
I grew
yeah.
up around all that. My dad did 2 tours of Nam, and
Wow.
he died when I was 10 months old of Agent Orange poisoning.
Mhm.
Um, but one day I was on the internet. This was 2008. I was on the internet researching him, and I came across a bulletin board where there were veterans that were reaching out to people that they served with, and there was a guy looking for my dad, and so I made contact with him, and he was telling me how he was like the Indian in the group, but
Aw,
he was crazy and all that stuff, and I thought it was a great thing because
Awesome.
I actually got to talk to somebody that served with my dad.
that's
So
That's
awesome.
amazing. Yes.
yeah,
Wow.
I have a lot of respect for every veteran that was in the Vietnam War,
Yeah.
not only because of what they went through in Vietnam, how they were treated when they came back to the United States.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We should be ashamed of
So,
ourselves.
mad respect.
I have respect for you two as well. Veterans to me are special, okay, because you guys have done something that to me is a selfless thing. I never served, okay. I've instructed martial arts to people that have served, but I've never gone into the service, and that's the literal term for it, the service. You're
It is.
providing service for us. And so you'll never hear me bad talk. You might hear me bad talk some pencil pushers, but never our people that are serving and our veterans. And we need to do better as a country for our veterans, and that's straight up.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
Thank you for
That's
that.
what I know we're kind of getting a little bit sidetracked, but I have to say this, that's something that I don't like. You know, the longer you stay in any branch of the military, first of all, you have to think a certain way. You have to. If you're going to serve the United States of America, anybody that is in the military has to think a certain way. I'm cool with that. But the longer you stay in, you get used to somebody telling you what to do, how to do things, what time to be here, what time to be there, how to dress, how to wear your hair, how long can it be, how short can it be.
Right.
When you get out, you're forgotten about. You're forgotten about. I hope I don't cry. They don't, that's it. Okay, you're done. How the fuck am I supposed, am I supposed to function? What do I do now? Where do I go? So service is the right word because that is exactly what it is.
Yep, and
So
you guys
Never go.
got paid pennies for it. Pennies. You can get more money doing You can actually get more money waiting tables in some restaurants than some of our service people make, and that's a shame because they're the people that are actually putting themselves on the front line.
Exactly. Yeah, I do not like how I don't like how my fellow brothers and sisters are treated when they get out. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't like it at all.
But
So
we have platforms now, so we can use our platforms to try to affect
yes,
change.
absolutely.
We do have a veterans episode coming up soon.
Yes.
So, but yeah, but that's definitely something that really bothers me too, especially like what you said, you're just kind of let off and that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're told everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
And it breaks my heart to hear that your father died from Agent Orange. And
yes.
We talked about that in a previous episode about how, we use chemicals on our own people and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I said I'm not getting that vaccine. If it comes out, I'm not, because our government it's facts. And I didn't mention Agent Orange, but our government has a history of doing that shit to their own people.
You mentioned the Tuskegee Institute.
Yeah, in the Gulf War.
Yep.
No, ain't no way. I'm not happening.
And that's why I believe. Do I know that these hysterectomies are true? No, I don't know. And I like to study things before
Lydia,
I take.
didn't you talk about that?
But
yes.
But I believe that the possibility of these hysterectomies cannot be overlooked. Okay. We cannot just blindly trust that it's not happening. You know what's really interesting to me? This is a little bit of a tangent, but it kind of goes back to the QAnon. They can believe all this bullshit, BS about QAnon, but they can't believe something that has an actual history in our country of happening.
Exactly.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
I think it's an unwillingness to believe it, because there's certain things that are very obvious and blatant, but somewhere in our brains, there's certain things we just don't want to accept because it doesn't fit what we believe. So, I mean, I'm
cognitive bias.
Yeah.
I have a question. Do you think Trump is going to lose?
No, I don't think he's going to lose. I think that it's a pretty even playing field right now. I think that how the Democrats conduct themselves with like 40 something days to go is going to be really important, and they need to hold his ass accountable and stop playing nice. I'm tired of this I'm not saying be sensational or rude or anything like that.
Do your jobs.
Right. Hold this man accountable. There are no checks and balances. Right. And I hate to say this, but some people might have to fall on their swords and open their mouths up if they know some secret things. I'm just trying to say, I'm not advocating for breaking the law. You can cut this out if you want, but I'm saying that it is quite possible that we will move towards autocracy. I believe that because the man is trying to change our education system. Yeah. He's trying to put out an executive order to teach patriotic American education. What the heck does that mean?
I thought that was history books.
You know what? You're right. Because apparently the Pilgrims and the Indians all got along, and Christopher Columbus discovered America, even though he never made it to this continent.
Yeah. So I thought that was general, history that we learned in school already. I thought we already had patriotic education, but he's trying to stop the project 1619. So that's what it is.
Yeah, he doesn't like that the New York Times talking about how this country was built on the backs of slaves. Unfortunately, it was built on the backs of slaves.
Yes, it was.
We cannot overlook that. That's part of the issue with it's a big miscommunication with some people, and some people just blatant ignorance. But the miscommunication comes in where people of color are not trying to say, look, we want to be better than you. They're trying to say, look, let's not ignore what's happened, because that is a part of our history. Let's talk about it. let's figure out how it affects us in the modern day, because when you're walking down the street and there's a damn statue of an oppressor that was built during the Jim Crow era, it's kind of hard to say, yeah, we're equal.
That's right.
Okay.
Or when you're
I'm
inside of a Dollar General and 3 white men are in there and they're calling you nigger to your face.
Yes. Yes. Just flip the light on. There's some roaches right there. Okay. I cannot stomach that. So it's an inability to separate themselves from the actual topic. If we say that white people have been racist, they're assuming that we're talking about all the white people in the world, and that is so far from the truth. Because if you look at it, 77% of the population is white. If we did not have white allies fighting the battle with us, we would not have gotten as far as we did.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's just it.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
But I think a lot of that, where they don't want to see it, is white fragility. They can't stand to see, oh, we were wrong about something. You know, if you can admit, I mean, like any other recovery program, admitting it is the first step. If we can just examine what exactly happened, then we can say we don't have to let that happen in the future, and find solutions to fixing the issues. But instead, they want to be blind because they don't want to accept that they were wrong. And unfortunately, they were wrong. So, but admitting it's the first step, and he doesn't want to admit it. Nobody, you know, a lot of people don't want to admit it because of their white fragility is going to be damaged. So,
Right, and we're not trying to humiliate anybody.
mm-hmm.
We're trying to move forward. But until the conversation is actually had in an honest tone, you can't move forward.
Right.
That's the truth.
They're focusing on what's going on in Portland and things like that, while ignoring the years and years of peaceful protests. Colin Kaepernick is anti-American because he's taking a kneel. That's called peaceful protest. Okay, so when peaceful protests are ineffective, it's natural for humans to lash out with emotions and anger. And I'm not saying that that's all the case, because I actually believe some of the rioting that's occurring is actually just people taking advantage of the situation, or chaos agents that are like Boogaloo Boys,
Right.
who are accelerationists and they want to cause a civil war.
Right. I agree with you on that.
Yes.
Let me take my tinfoil hat off.
Oh,
Since we're talking about racism, okay, I play fantasy football, and Vonda likes football too. You see, she's all ravened out. What do you think about football teams and sports teams with, you know, Chicago Blackhawks, the Chiefs? You know, they're no longer the Redskins, but how do you, you know, as an indigenous person, how do you respond to that, or what is your opinion on that?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the Redskins real quick. My issue with the Redskins was not the logo, it's the name.
Mm-hmm.
The name Redskins is a derogatory term. Okay. My issue with the Cleveland Indians, while I prefer not to use the term Indians, it's ingrained in our society, and it doesn't really infer anything negative as a whole. I don't like the Chief Wahoo, because if you paint that Chief Wahoo black, it becomes one of the characters from, you know, the old making fun of black people cartoons. It's a racist looking character. But more than that, this is my real issue with mascots and costumes and all that stuff. When you think of an indigenous person, do you think of a guy sitting here on Zoom talking to normal other Americans, or do you think of somebody sitting in a teepee with smoke signals, or a cigar store Indian? The issue is that indigenous people do not have a modern view in our society. Whenever we're thinking of indigenous Americans, we're thinking of, you know, the old wise Indian chief, or we're thinking of Pocahontas and things like that. If we focused more on the issues occurring in Indian country, maybe I would feel a little bit better about it. Maybe if we talked about how COVID has had such an effect on indigenous people, or we talked about how reservations are basically third world countries within our own borders. And we talk about the disaffected voters and how hard it is to actually get to polls in some of these locations. Then we'd be thinking about the modern day indigenous person instead of something from an old John Wayne movie. And that's what my main thing is that everybody's view is of the anachronism and not the current representation.
Gotcha.
Okay.
That was a good question, by the way.
Thanks.
Oh, Lydia.
Go on.
Okay. Well, it's just about time to wrap up.
That was
And
quick.
before we do, what'd you say, Sean?
I said that was quick.
I know.
Yes.
Is there anything you'd like to shout out, like giving everybody your YouTube channel information, or another business or entity?
So yes, so I'm Indigenous Patriot on YouTube. I'm at WIKWKO on Twitter. I'm going to be sharing a link of Indigenous people. I think it's 7 Indigenous people that are running for Congress or up for re-election in Congress that are on the Democratic ticket, and I'm going to be tweeting that out later on today. So
Okay.
so stay tuned for that. The main thing is that I just want us all to have a conversation.
Yes.
Stop being so divisive all the time. You might not like what the other person's gonna say, but if you can't honestly listen to them without your bias, you're never gonna get beyond where we need to be as a country. And we are divided, and divided we fall.
Right.
I agree.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to shout out my social media. I have a Instagram now too, Indigenous Patriot on Instagram.
Nice.
Posting pictures now and then.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Go, Sean. Lydia.
Yeah.
I need to be prepared next time because I know you're going to ask me to shout out someone, but I don't have a shout out. But
You are hilarious.
I don't know. I was cleaning. I wasn't thinking. But anyway, I just want to say thank you to all the people that have been sharing our YouTube, page, and just the fact that people are continuing to watch what we're putting out there. I'm thankful for all of you guys, and truly humbled, honestly humbled. So that's all I wanted to say.
Well, I want to shout out a Black business owner. On Twitter, she is at Salt, Pepper, the letter N, Soul. Salt, Pepper, N, Soul, SOUL. She's pretty quiet and moves in silence. Last night, I found out, and she follows me. She never says anything, never comments, but she likes and shares a lot of my posts on Twitter. So last night I found out she had an Instagram page, and so I went and checked it out. She's very active, trying to help people, make sure people eat, connecting with others. So if you guys you have the time, go and show Salt, Pepper, and Soul some love and some support. So, and with that being said, you guys know where to find me, Ovanda at everything. Twitter is my favorite social media outlet, but only because they're very quick to put out information. Right, left, center, whatever, it's there. They're faster than anybody else to get information out. So with that being said, I want all of you guys to remember that the comeback is always better than the setback, no matter what you're going through. I want to thank Sean Wickwako. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Yes, Wickwako.
Wickwako, for coming on with us. I really enjoyed it. This was fun, and maybe he'll come back again.
Yes.
That's all up to you guys.
So so that means all we have to do is ask you, and you're gonna say, "Yeah, I'll be on."
The answer is yes. I enjoyed myself.
I love him. He's awesome. See, and I say on Twitter, I'll tell him, you know, you're my favorite. He really knows he is my favorite.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yes, so we hope, well, then with Waco, you'll be coming back on.
Anytime.
Awesome. We appreciate you. So be safe, everybody. And well, I mean, this is like kind of weird saying bye because I'm gonna be seeing you guys as soon as we get off.
Oh my goodness.
So, all right, I'll talk to you guys later.